morning. I'd like to thank some elected officials who are here on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, members of our General Assembly, Assemblyman Joseph Cryan, Assemblywoman Annette Quijano, members of our County Freeholder Board, Freeholder Hudak, Freeholder Estrada, Freeholder Mirabella, Freeholder Sullivan, the County Manager Al Fiella, members of our City Council, Councilman Gallman from the 5th Ward, Councilman Keenan from the 3rd Ward, Councilman Jackas at large, Councilman Grova from the 1st Ward, Councilman Gonzalez from the 2nd Ward, Councilman Cuesta at large, Councilwoman Patricia Perkins Augusti at large. And to the directors, it was 10 years ago that our country suffered one of the most horrific attacks ever to occur on American soil. And although today marks a decade since that terrible tragedy, the images of that day and the memory of those who were lost remain vivid in our minds. But for some, this decade has not equaled their lifetime. The children that were born in the months and the years after September 11th represent a new generation. These young people did not live through these events, but have come to learn that September 11th, 2001 was a day that changed life as we all know it. Through family, through textbooks, through the media, and members of our own community, they have heard and read about the attacks, about the loss, and about the heroism. Not only were our security and our freedom compromised, but our way of life was forever altered. From new travel regulations and identification requirements to the institution of alert and evacuation systems, our world has never been the same. What we have come to recognize is our increased vulnerability and the changes that we now accept as new normal. They're all a part of the way of life, and it always will be that way for our youngest generation. However, they too will be a part of history because they are also a part of our community, as are Arcilio Castillo, Carlos da Costa, Colleen Frazier, Margaret Lewis, Frankie Serrano, and Anthony Tempesta, the 6 Elizabeth residents who passed away on September 11th. President Franklin Roosevelt once said, "It is the task of our generation, yours and mine, to build, to defend, not for our generation alone, but for the generations yet unborn and for all of mankind." So as time continues to pass, it is the responsibility of each of us to share our experiences of that day with our younger generations. From the loss in our hearts to the strength in our unity, what we have lived through together is part of who we are, and it will shape our children's future. They will be the ones to carry on our memories that no one will ever forget. The sacrifice, the innocence that was lost, the compassion that can be shown by strangers in times of need, and our ability to rebuild and rise above all else. And as President Abraham Lincoln once said, "It is not the years in your life that count, it is the life in your years." And these past 10 years have brought a lot of time for reflection, time for rebuilding, and for some, a time for new beginnings. And although time will never heal all wounds, we continue to help each other and move forward together, so that those 3,000 lives that came to a tragic end on September 11th, 2001, but what each one meant to our country, to our city, and to all of the generations to follow will never be lost. No one knows what the future holds for all of us. But whatever happens, we can take solace in the fact that our country will fight to defend democracy, fight for our precious freedoms, and unite as one, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May God bless the city of Elizabeth, and may God bless America. Are there any family members who would like to say anything? We ask every year. Yes. Anthony Roman, the son of Arcilio Castillo.
Good morning. When I think about that day, I was living in the city, and many things I always had to go through. I first didn't know what happened to my mom. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps Reserves, so I knew that I had to be called to action, and I didn't do a tour during Iraq. But when I think of everything my mom was to me, it sounds kind of weird, but the first thing I think of is the tooth fairy. You know, your mom is your provider. She's your doctor. She's your chef, your limo driver. When I think about the tooth fairy, she was I never knew a day in her life or a week in her life that she didn't have at least 2 jobs or went to school at night. And I think about when she was working in the factory, still going to school at night, and I lost the bottom 2 teeth. And I remember putting those teeth under my pillow, and the next day, getting 50 cents. And I'm not being sarcastic, that was a lot of money for me. I was able to buy a comic book and a few potato chips. And years later, I realized how tired she must have been. Working, going to school at night. But that night, without waking me up, she was able to, and I didn't make it easier because I put it right underneath the middle of my pillow, so that she must be able to lift up my head without waking me up, take those teeth, and put those 2 quarters. So it sounds kind of childish, but of all the things I could tell about my mom, that summed it up. She was my tooth fairy. Thank you.
I'd now like to ask Nancy Meningo and Christian Velez to perform the Lord's Prayer.